morning, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Today, I, Lee Melody, I'm here with my dear co-host
Amir Kafati,
to talk to you about the transition from middle school to high school
and the evolution of English.
with our honorable guest of the 10th and 11th grade. We hope you enjoy.
Hi everyone, I'm Raji Patel from 11th grade.
Hi, I'm Vansh Patel from 11th grade.
And I'm Melvin Q from 11th grade.
I am Nabil Mane from the 10th grade.
I am Sofia Varela from the 10th grade.
Hi, I'm Jenna from the 10th grade.
Now that you are all introduced to our honorable guests, we'd like to start with a little icebreaker to get to know each other. So everyone can pick a paper from the bowls.
Remind to be honest. I will start. Never have I ever copied homework from a classmate. Ajit, I literally saw you yesterday.
I'm serious. I've never copied
I've seen you too.
I never.
I've seen you copy homework.
Then you're like.
I think we should ask Tony about this.
We should ask Tony.
Yeah.
So many heated accusations over here. Let's just ignore that and go to the next question, which is, never have I ever accidentally called a teacher mom or dad.
Okay, go.
This happens to everyone. So I guess 10th graders, you can go next.
Okay. Never have I ever pulled an all-nighter studying for an exam.
Yeah, I haven't
Lots of
done that.
times.
Never have I ever had to do a group project with people I don't like.
In school, we don't like everyone. Like, we need to be honest.
It's not personal.
It's like,
Yeah, it's not personal.
Well, it is personal.
It's my turn. Never have I ever gone to a party on a school night.
I think more than once. I mean, it's not by choice.
Never have I ever been in trouble for talking in class.
me.
You guys already lost?
Oh, she lost.
Never have I ever lied to a teacher about completing an assignment.
Okay, well done that.
I mean, depends on the teacher.
Yeah.
Never have I ever fallen asleep during an important school event or assembly.
Yes, we've all done that.
I have pictures of me doing it.
Yes,
We went to Cascantigo.
we went to the Teatro Nacional and the host was like very, very boring and talk about like,
You talked
No.
a lot.
yes, nothing to do. He talked half an hour about a painting. I really don't care. Okay, now we start with the questions. How did your understanding of responsibility and time management shift as you entered high school? Especially considering the increased workload and extracurricular commitments.
Oh, I'm not responsible.
Okay?
Okay, at least he's honest.
It's hard. Like, you have to manage your time because there's like the workload increase. Like, if you have like to do just one assignment in last year, now you have to do like 3 or 4. And if you do like less, then they're like longer. So it's really hard. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
I normally try to do my assignments in the recesses in like school, so when I get home I can rest a little bit. And if I have a test, I can study at home, and I don't have to worry that much about the homework because it's already done. So it's not been that difficult for me.
So going to middle school to high school, it's like so much work because you know that something is coming. You have to expect that something difficult will come, some new subject, and you have to be ready, and you have to continue. Because going forward, you have to look for new things and new subjects.
Yes, like from middle school to high school. Like high school really matters to some people. Middle school, we're like, okay, it's middle school, we don't care. But for me personally, I entered high school like, okay, now I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm really liking that we have different points of view of like one same situation, and I think that definitely just to keep track of stuff, it's really important to write things down, be conscious of how you should manage your time, not leave things for last minute. That's really important. I'd like to hear what the 11th graders have to say.
To be honest, for me it depends on my mood because sometimes I get to my home and I'm too tired to just do some homework for the next day. So most of the time I try to finish my homework as soon as I get home. But if I'm too tired to do it, I leave it for the next day and do it in the recess. And I know it's bad to leave it for the last minute, but it's just how I work.
Well, middle school for me it was a bit more easy, and now that I'm in high school, you're supposed to do all your work by yourself because in middle school you get your parents' support, but now it's like you have to do it by yourself and be responsible.
Okay, so me in middle school, I didn't really care about my responsibilities. I just did whatever. But now that I'm in high school, before I talk, my future, okay, my goal in the future is to be rich, just to have money. That's my sole purpose of living. So
think that's
I
a
realized,
problem.
I realized that to get rich, I actually need to start focusing on my responsibilities. So I'm trying to be more responsible, completing the teachers' assignments and stuff like that. However, my time management is still very bad, and I leave everything for the last minute.
I think we're all in the same page. Like,
Yes.
I have the same. It's not like I'm not responsible, but it's like it depends on my mood.
Yeah.
I think we're in the same page.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the mood because sometimes you just don't have the energy left. Like you might have had like a really long school day and you were just like, I want to go home and sleep. I don't want to think about homework for the next day. So yeah, like Raji was saying, sometimes if you do things like as soon as they are assigned, you'll have like that extra time. But sometimes it's just not possible for you. You might have many things going on in your life. But yeah, if no one else has anything else to say, we can go to the next question.
Yeah.
So now that you're here in high school, what tips would you give to the freshmen? We can start with the 10th graders.
Okay, first of all, I will say that you have to get serious because things actually get serious. When you get to 10th grade, your things like your promotion, things like the marketing fair, warfare, that kind of things, like they start to have importance. You have to be organized in that type of things because you're working with a lot of people and you have to be able to manage that. Have to have the leadership and have all the that capacity to do all the work. So yeah, start focusing on what is important, responsibilities, and try to do what's good for you.
It's been difficult, some things, because most of the important stuff we have this year has been like in groups, and sometimes it's kind of
Yes.
difficult to get everyone in the same group to like work together, like be in the same page. So sometimes you find, like in the marketing warfare, we had like lots of problems that we had to solve quick, and it was kind of stressful and very difficult.
So you just have to be ready. You have to know everything that will come, the new activities that we will have to do. As Sophia said, there will be like problems during our process, but that just everything that comes into the making the things that we have to do, and we have to work as a group. We have to do teamwork. We have to do great things to have good results and have a good success.
Okay, actually, for the first time, I'm the same page of Sophia. Like, we need to be ready to work, and we need to be ready to work with people that we actually don't like. It's nothing personal, but we, as people, we will not like everyone. In this case, we are in 10th grade, so we need to decide our prom name, how the marketing fair will go, and every kind of stuff that we need to work in a work, to work in group. So sometimes I work with people that I don't like, or I like the people that I work with, but we actually get into fights. That's why we need to be ready to start working with people that we don't like and be comprehensive with all the persons that we work with.
Yeah, and also I think that sometimes it's not about not liking the person, but some people don't have the same priorities as you do. So then it's difficult to line that up like with each other to say like find a point where you agree with, and like make it work as not one person doing all the work, but everyone working together. And that's something, I think that's one of the biggest lessons you learn in high school, because one of the things you really find over there is a lot of group work. And that's really important because you don't only start working together in assignments, but you start working together as an entire class. And like he mentioned, finding a prom name, finding like what your objectives are, what you want to represent. And yeah, it's really important to understand that.
Not all people will share your opinion, so we need to be comprehensive with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so being responsible is really important, but apart from it, I would say making good friendship is also very crucial, because in our class, Reem, she helps a lot our classmates, gives them classes if they don't get a topic. So that's very important. And it gets a bit overwhelming because you need to do activities. You are the seniors, so the teachers expect more from you than they did before in high school. So that's very sometimes you get a bit of pressurized because of the subjects that you give. For example, chemistry, physics, trigonometry. When more numbers come into subjects, I have noticed that people get it a bit hard to be done the stuff.
Supporting what she said, I will advise freshmen to have group studies, for example. That's why, from that way, you can get to know your friend group, for example, and they're just going to help you if you are too pressured for your homeworks. So if you have group studies, you can all work together and make it in time.
I'm actually with Nabil on this one. You should be organized, and I suggest you create a schedule in which you can fit your study hours, your playing hours, and most importantly, your sleeping hours. Because trust me, it is not fun to go to school with 4 or 3 hours of sleep because your attention span will be very low, and that will cause the downfall of your grades.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that has been said. I mean, personally, I would advise freshmen, don't take things too seriously. You might have arguments with classmates, arguments with school teachers. You might have bad experiences, bad grades, like once in a while. Prioritize your grades and put everything into perspective and think about the future. Think, I'm here, I have to get good grades so I can pass, so I can have a good future. But I'm not gonna spend all of my high school life just worrying about academic stuff and not worrying about the relationships I have with people and how they are gonna affect me in my future, because the friends you make here, they might even be with you for years. So it's very important to look into the future and not stay always thinking worrying about everything.
It's important to just breathe.
Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes you just have to go with the flow.
Just enjoy the moment.
Yeah,
And not take it personally.
Sit down, take a breather, and then continue.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so looking ahead, how do you think your experiences during the transition from middle school to high school will shape your future academic and personal growth? Okay, juniors, what do you think?
Okay, so when we come into high school, we start to do activities around the school, like marketing warfare, as they mentioned, and many activities like Valentine's Day or other stuff. So for the people who are going to study like marketing in the near future, it will be very helpful for them. For example, for me, I'm into the career of business, so I like that experience. So I can be prepared from now and know how to handle my customers in the future.
When I was in high school, I didn't do that many work in groups, but now that I started doing it, in the future it can help me. So I'll be more open to people and ask them like, hey, can you help me in this work, get my things done?
I'm on the same page as Vansh. Group work helps you to be more. You can be more adapted to people. You can work. You can work in a way that you guys both complement each other, and you can finish stuff quicker.
I mean, yes, I agree with you, but I think the only thing you learn, it's not only teamwork, but you also improve your individual skills. What I mean with that is, for example, you learn things like, for example, arguing. I argue a lot. I like to argue. The thing is that it's not worth to win an argument and losing the person. So you also have to learn a lot of things, like in a social level and in a working level, because in the future that will be helpful to you to make friends, to make partners, and to know people.
Sometimes you have to lose an argument to win in the future. You cannot always win the arguments. You have to let the person have a win, so you can keep working together, not ruin that friendship, that camaraderie you might have with them.
I think I might agree with everyone. Being in high school, there will be so much activities, and you have to do it because these things can will affect the future in your career, and can help you understand all the things that if you've done in your school time will help you in your career time.
Okay. Talking about people, do you feel like people start changing in high school? And in what way does this change come? In a negative or positive way?
I think it depends. It depends on the person, because everybody is a different individual. Everyone has its own complex life. I don't know what you guys do when you guys go to your homes. I don't know. That's your problem. So that's the thing. People change. I think people like, of course, they mature more because I notice many people have matured. I myself, I consider I matured a little, and well, that kind of things. Like you learn things with time. You can ask people from higher grades, higher classes than you, and they will tell you things that they'll have learned from the years. So that's the thing. Like you change. You're right now in high school. We're in high school. Things are different. Things don't work as we were in middle school. So we learn, and I think we have changed and grown in different ways.
We have adapted to high school. Some people still think they are in like middle school. Some people are like grasping middle school with all their might. They don't understand that we have grown more, that we have to mature to continue. And that's like one of the negative parts of it, that it has like this on level of people. Like some people are like, this is high school, this is business, and some are like, well, we just started high school, we might as well take it easy. Like they don't know like when to adapt and when to not.
So going to middle school to high school, it's a big change, it's a big transition, it's a big difference. So I'll tell an analogy, example. Our body is in a mode of evolution, in the mode of development, in a mode of changing. So that's because we're the law of nature, the law of the material world. So our body never will change, but it continues, and there will be an end. We were born, and we pass our babyhood, our childhood, our adolescenthood, our adulthood, then we get older, and then we're gonna end. Then we have to go to from this world, from this material world. So similarly, we have to change to middle school, to high school, because new subjects will come, like physics, for us, physics, technical drawing, and you don't expect what topics it will come or what you have to do.
You scared me coming in like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's all about an evolution, and change comes with the effects of your surroundings and everything that's going on, and experiences are what really change people. Personally, seeing you guys in 10th grade, every time I see like something, any arguments you guys are having or something like that, I feel like I remember when I was in your grade and I have those same arguments, and like at your age, I was thinking, oh no, like this is so bad. But then you grow and you think, oh, those experiences were just experiences that were meant to shape me and make me more mature, like you guys are saying. So yeah, I think really the transition from middle school to high school does come with a lot of change and evolution that hopefully is positive.
Okay, I think like maturing is realizing that you have responsibilities and challenges to come. People in high school start seeing those challenges and start reaching to those responsibilities and start maturing. Sometimes it may be positive and sometimes it will be negative. It depends on the person. But actually, it depends on how the person sees the challenges. Like if the person takes the challenges more relaxed way, it'll be positive because he knows that okay, I have to do this, but I am not worried to like my life depends on it. We need to be like Sofia said previously. We need to breathe. We need to take things chill. We need to chill a little bit in high school.
Yeah, some people even like base their confidence or their value on grades, and that's something that really happens a lot during high school because people start getting really competitive, and all this competitiveness sometimes can be negative because they start seeing maybe their partners or their classmates as as their competitors instead of their teammates who like they want personally. It's good to want your own success and it's good to want to be competitive, but there's like a limit where people start changing and not wanting to see other people's success because they think other success will outshine theirs.
Yeah, as Erwin said, it depends on the people how they take the challenges, and I can definitely feel the competitive surrounding around me. since we got to 11th grade, especially because the subjects get a bit harder and people need to give exams for college entrance. So yeah, some people do get competitive and some take it in a negative form because they just want to chill around with their friends and not get into these competitions. But it's part of life, and when you get out of school, it would be something similar.
I agree with what Nabil said. It depends on the person because when I get back home, I'm still in contact with all of my friends, asking them, "Hey, if you did this homework, can you help me do it?" But there are some other people who don't care and they just do it by themselves, which could have positive impact and a negative impact.
So during the transition from middle school to high school, you can definitely see a physical and mental change from people. Some people mature and some don't, because they, as Sophia said, they grasp towards the middle school age, and they still can't mature quite heavily. So, and also people mature because they realize that their future depends on their performance now. So it's better to study right now to have a better future than do nothing and have your future ruined.
Okay.
Well, no matter, people do change, no matter if it's mentally, physically, or emotionally. People do change. People, when we, our body, let's say, physically, we change because we mature, change because we get like hair or beard. People do change. Mentally, I can give an example of myself. Mentally, going to middle school, my way of analyzing things, comprehending things, and doing things was not the best because like it took me time to understand the topics that teachers gave me or the assignments the teachers gave me. But going to high school, I don't know how my way of comprehending, my way of analyzing things, my way of doing things really changed, and I really like how it changed mentally. Emotionally, I think not so much, but maybe there's a change.
Like Ajit said, like when we reach high school, we start analyzing things. Like we start developing a character. When you develop a character, you see like, okay, I don't share the same opinion of this person, but that doesn't mean I hate them. That means like I have my character. I see what's good. I see what's bad. Like sometimes I tell my parents like, okay, I think I'm old enough to say this is good, this is bad. You need to let me be.
Yeah, because he has his own perspective, point of view, own opinion, own way of thinking. It's good.
I love how Amir and me today were like on the same page. Never happens.
First time I never last time. It's good.
Hopefully not. So we can go to the next question, which is, how did you feel on your first day of high school compared to your last day of middle school? So what do you think the difference was really? That, you know, you went here on your first day, you're in high school, and what did you feel had changed, you know, that first day?
Okay, so the first day is always like special. Like it's not just high school. It's like every day of like the first year, because you feel, hey, I'm older. A year has passed, and then you blink and you're finishing that same year. So it's like, I know, it's like special. You can choose like your desk, where you're sitting, who you're sitting with, your friend. You basically plan everything out, and you have like an expectative. You don't know what's going to happen next. So yes, that's like, it has a special feeling that only happens when it's the first day.
I feel like my first day of high school, I hadn't really realized like, oh my god, this is high school. I was like, it's another first day. I have done this like 10 times before. It hadn't really like taken like in consideration like it's the first day of high school. Like these are the years that really matter. These are like the final years.
So, getting to high school, it didn't hit me that I really got to the 10th grade. But like you have to know, I knew that I had to be serious when doing such subjects, new assignments and everything. But when I got to the first day of high school, I really saw my friends. I really saw everybody, teachers, and I got happy. I got to see Teacher Jennifer Pierre when she was back, like I think in middle school time. she was teaching us online, and she was a great teacher. Now she got back, and I was so happy that she came, teaching us language arts, literature, and all of the subjects that.
He's going after those appreciation points.
He really wants them. He really wants them.
He's grasping.
Teacher in the literature exam. I really did that.
Yeah, I feel like everything you've said I've really resonated with. I mean, personally, my first day of high school, I didn't really feel any change, but compared to when I went to 11th grade, it was very different for me. I don't know, like everything had changed. I felt like the school had changed, people had changed, and it's like a different experience. Even when in 10th grade we were discussing like prom names and all this stuff, you feel like you're finally like near the end line, and you're like near that finish line, and you're gonna finish high school, and it's really like where you start to have to reflect, on everything that you've gone through and where you're here right now, and you're like, all the experiences I've gone through have brought me to this place right now, and I'm just so close to finishing school and leaving all this behind, and it's really like bittersweet. It's the way that I can say it.
So
I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, it's okay.
Technically, the school did change.
Yeah.
Okay, like what do you think about
It
this
felt
change?
different because it was different.
You look
Yeah.
up, you see a painting. You look to the side, you see another painting. It's like a lot of different.
Do you actually like that, or do you think like it's a little
Huh?
bit more?
No, I actually try to find them. Like every time they were doing it, I just I was
You were,
searching.
like,
it.
looking
I was
for the
searching
new
for it,
ones.
and I made a sticker in WhatsApp.
Oh, we have tons of stickers for it.
That's because we love our paintings. That's why we have
they're
this.
really great. They bring like this new happiness into it. And
Yeah, like
the school-
free hugs. Not
Like-
always we enter school like in a very good mood. So you see these paintings and you're like, okay.
Like a new environment.
I mean,
Yes.
I think it's not even like just about the paintings. It's about everything. You feel like the school is someplace new. You feel like there's been life brought into it. Like you feel like people care about your education. People care about you being in this place, and that's something that I think is really important, especially with the teachers. There's nothing better than going into a class where the teacher really cares about your education and doesn't only care about what grade you get, but how you feel in this class and how you feel in this school. And it's more about it's about the teacher, the administration, everybody that's in school can really shape your experience. Like, you don't know what you say to a kid or what you show to a kid, how it's gonna change them.
Like professors are mentors to us.
Yeah.
They show us how to be like. We spend most of the time in school. Professors need to be our mentors. Need to shape us up to the group. That's why in the CC we have some of the best mentors that we have seen.
This
Yeah.
sounds like an ad.
Well, no,
Come
the
to
real-
CIC.
The real question,
Go
which
Panthers.
is your favorite roar? The real question is, which is your favorite painting of the school?
The one like in
I don't
the
remember
football. You
What's
know
that banter?
that the panther like once a panther, always a panther.
Like, it really
Like,
it really brings like a sense of familiarity and union, and you feel like everybody always calls school like your second home. And like nowadays I feel like it really does feel, especially when you're going to high school, you feel like this, like you're here in your second home. And sometimes you're like sad that one day you're gonna have to leave it. And even though other days you're like, I wanna get out of here, I wanna go home, I don't wanna think about school anymore. But yeah, what do you guys have to say about this topic?
The last day of middle school, like, I literally didn't feel anything. I was just happy that everything is over. I would get like 2 months of vacation. But after I got to high school, 10th grade was not too hard, to be honest. But when we started 11th grade, and when chemistry and physics started to hit us, that was a reality check for us.
Yeah, something
I've
totally
noticed that you-
different.
I've
12th
noticed that you-
graders had told me that 11th grade is hard. The first trimester was easier, not too much of pressure, but the second one was brutal, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like,
The worst
personally, yeah, the second trimester, at the beginning I was like, this is so cool, this is so easy,
Yeah.
like there's nothing. Then I saw my grade was like this high up, and then I saw it go down
No.
slowly, and I was like, because at first I was like, how hard can it be? It's just
Yeah.
like second trimester of 11th grade, nothing's gonna go wrong. And then I saw those grades like plummeting to the ground, And I was like, no, forget about it. I'm not doing this ever again.
What tips will you give us, like the 10th graders, to go to 11?
Get ready, brace up. Don't let like your confidence get too much into your brain.
Just don't have-
Your ego can't eat you up, because then you're gonna see those grades, and those grades are what are gonna eat you up. Especially chemistry,
And physics.
all of the numbers and like scientific
Maybe
stuff.
trigonometry.
It's all gonna.
Pay attention to the, don't let your ego.
Yeah,
Just
don't let your your grades.
Now we're.
I'll just say
Because
one
this
thing.
time was where you really get humiliated, and you're like, oh, you thought you were gonna be the best one.
Listen to
Like,
that, I
put
mean.
it to perspective with everybody else's grades.
There's
Like,
no need to.
But we'll recover, hopefully.
Okay,
The one who studies delves of his own knowledge.
But yeah, Vansh, we wanna listen to you. What do you have to say?
For me, the last day of middle school was like, I really don't care. I just want to go have my 2 months off. But then, when I came to high school, inside of me, I just saw that long path, the final path that I had to do before graduating. It was like, just get it done. I just want to finish.
In middle school, I didn't really care about what I did. I just wanted to pass with whatever grade. My goal was to only pass, okay? And when I went to high school, I realized that
You wanted
things...
to be rich.
Yes, I want to be rich. When I went to high school, I realized that things weren't going to be as easy introducing subjects like physics and chemistry, especially chemistry. Well, physics is hitting more hard right now, yeah. But yeah, you realize that you have to get your acts together, like Teacher Jennifer says, and you have to be more responsible. Acts.
But yeah, thank you all for your perspective on this topic. I think we can
Okay,
go for
pass
the
it.
next question.
Okay.
Now
Now.
we can transition into the next topic, which is, how has language and how has education evolved thanks to technology and thanks to, the gap in generations, really. So we can go to this first question. You can all participate. What do you think are the pros and cons of AI in education?
Okay, let's do a dynamic. This side of the table will say the pros, and this side of the table will say the cons. We'll start
Are
with
you
the pros.
all like in favor of this dynamic?
There are no cons.
Okay, if you don't
I
say
love
it,
AI.
Okay, so first over here. What do you
Okay, so
guys
I think a good thing about AI is that, first of all, it depends on how you use it. Like, if you use it for example, to guide yourself, like finding information fast, it's good. But sometimes, not always it works, but mostly it works. So it's like a really good source, and you can ask for the sources. So that's like even better. So it can help you to investigate. You can also ask to make things simple, to make things it's just fun to use it. It makes everything simple, and yes, I think it makes your life easier. So I think that's what AI does, and it gets more day by day because people use it.
Yeah, I am totally on the same page as you. AI is good if you use it as a guide. People are sometimes lazy and they just copy paste everything the AI says.
What did you call?
What are you insinuating here?
nothing. Continue, please.
We don't
Reflecting on
use
the
AI.
Are you reflecting yourself on what I'm saying? Do
No,
you
no.
copy paste from AI?
No, I actually use it for the exams that we had this week. I was not going to study all the history book. I just summarized it and then went to AI and asked it to summarize in 2 paragraphs, and that really helped me.
Why didn't you do it for biology? You could have helped us all.
No, yeah.
I did it, but biology was the whole book. I couldn't summarize the whole book in 2 paragraphs.
Maybe do it in 3 next time.
Okay, I would take that.
I don't like the tension that I'm feeling right here in this room. I think I might get out of here, but yeah. While I'm here, I'd like to say that I agree with you, and AI is good while it's used in a positive way, and because the access to so much information in such an easy way, I think it can lead to lazy students, which is something that happens a lot of times because you have the access to this tool. You don't want to do things by yourself. You're immediately, I have homework, I'm gonna go to ChatGPT or one of these or other platforms instead of just doing it by yourself. But as long as it's to support you and support your learning, I think it's a very good tool, and it makes it much easy to do research, because sometimes finding things on the internet, there's so much stuff that you can find it. Well, how Navi was mentioning, you can even ask for the sources in ChatGPT and other websites it's like Bard or other AIs. Yeah, Adit, what do you have to say?
So there is many AI websites and sources, but you can use AI as a guidance. It's good for your studies. But if you're being so like you go past over it, you can students sometimes copy. I can relate it something to me, but not always. I use it as a guidance, and it helps me so much when I use AI, and it's good. It's good. It's a good technology, but if for a good purpose, you use it for a good purpose.
Okay, I agree with what everyone is saying here. AI does has its pros and cons depending on how you use it. So for the person who uses it as a guide, as everyone said, it would be helpful to you. But if you use it in a form of plagiarism, it would be a negative side. Everything has its pros and cons, and it depends on how the person uses it. So yeah, that's all.
I also agree with what Raji said. There are people who use it as a guide to, in a form of summarizing a big text, for example, and there are some people who just use it to make their life easy and just copy paste.
Okay, so I think people shouldn't completely rely on AI because there are people who completely plagiarize, as my classmate said. They plagiarize and they depend completely on AI. They use AI for everything. And what if the internet goes down, then your knowledge goes down to zero? That doesn't make sense. So it is okay to use AI as a guide, but not to depend on it entirely.
How do you know?
I mean, I totally agree with everything that you guys been saying. And personally, for the cons, I think it's not only about AI, but it's about all of the internet. You know, the easy access to information on the internet makes it difficult for us to, store information in our brains because we're so used to, I'm not gonna learn this because I know that I can search it on the internet anytime. And it's like the same thing as when people say like, what do I need math for if I have calculators? It's like, what if you don't have a calculator? What if you don't have internet? Then is there nothing to rely on by yourself? I think we're learning not to, like, we're not memorizing, we're not learning anything sometimes when we rely on these tools. Because it's important that we learn to use these tools only when needed. And at school when you're doing research, you're searching about new topics that you don't know about. But that we learn to retain this knowledge inside our brains instead of, just throwing it all out because we think internet is gonna be here forever for us. Like it's a tool that we have to learn to use.
Yes, like Rip said, like with AI, we need to acknowledge like with a single type, we have all the information in the world. Like I can right now search a whole homework and it will give it to me like in 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, and now that we are here and we've talked about education, about technology, we can really talk about how social media is affecting the language. And what do you guys think about this? Do you think social media has had like a big addition to our language? And what do you think about that?
Yeah, like it made communication like shorter. Instead of writing like everything and using like perfect grammar rules, you just like write whichever thing you want. And sometimes you even have this autocorrect thing that changes the words and fixes everything.
Yeah.
The thing is that sometimes that autocorrect, like, how do I say this? How do I put this?
Change that little voice.
Distortions that what you're saying, and then they look at you like,
Misspelled.
You know what happens
Yeah,
a
you
lot?
can send a totally different message
Exactly.
than what
Yes.
you
You
meant.
know what happens a lot when you try to write Amir? The autocorrection is to Amor.
oh,
So you're like, Amor, can you do this?
exactly. And that happened to me. Kind of weird.
I would say like not in public, please.
I mean, I totally understand what you're trying to say, and people try to shorten words, and I think the autocorrect is something that has really affected people because as someone who has learned English as a second language, I see that native English speakers sometimes can't even tell the difference between words. Like, have you seen people like with their and they are they confuse them and they write or
You and your.
Your.
Yeah.
Your and your.
Yeah, sometimes like even native English speakers like get confused, and I would assume because of the autocorrect and all of these tools, they stop practicing the correct grammar and they don't feel the need to have to write it by themselves. and sometimes even the autocorrect does it wrong.
Exactly. Like Nabil said, like when you have this social media, you shorten the words. Like now you don't write never mind. You just say NVM. Like these shorter words like
A lot of
LOL.
abbreviations.
Yes, exactly. Like you don't right now you don't have the need to write all the words.
It's like some of the slang. It's like fun to use sometimes. It's like it brings you closer in the generation. But if you get like too accustomed to using said slang, you may not be able to have that much communication with the other generations that don't use the same slang. Like if you say lit, no cap.
Yeah, there's a
Some
Yes.
of the other generation might be like, what?
Yeah,
I can't
there's
remember to point to teacher Jennifer Field.
There's
I have to
definitely like a
explain.
generational gap between
Yes.
like in language right now.
How do you do that? Like you have to explain to your parents. Like they come and ask you, son, what does TBH mean? What does this mean? And it's a problem because sometimes it doesn't have a good meaning, and you have a problem.
Yes. Or sometimes like when you write in paper, like I was writing and I see for teacher Jennifer Field. Instead of saying you, I wrote the word you, that's the letter U. Always happens to me that when I'm writing in English. That's because of the social media that we are accustomed to use.
So I think I might agree with all of you. So nothing much to say, but as Sophia said, everything, our language is changing. Everything's going shorter, abbreviations, like Rim said, and our way of talking has really advanced. But like short for long words is short. But that's how it is. Generations.
Okay, Junior, what's your point of opinion?
Okay, so definitely social media alternate the English language in various ways, as they popularize slang words, abbreviations, and acronyms, as Amir said before, like LOL, LOL, OMG, and also words like new words, like aesthetic. I remember one of our classmates saying like, that's aesthetic, and teacher Jennifer was like, what's that? Like, it literally means that something that's aesthetically pleasing, so something that looks beautiful. And also, apart from it, Riz literally means like someone who's charismatic. Yeah.
Okay, camera, focus on Nabil. What's your
Amor.
The definition of the word.
So yeah, I agree with what everyone said. Social media has impacted our language, but new words, abbreviation, as everyone mentioned, it's a bit complicated for older people to understand what we say, and for us, we are used to use abbreviation in all of our texts. So if we're writing an formal message, we need to reread all of our messages of our text we wrote before we get to know like if we used any type of abbreviation or something.
Yes, like Raji said, the word Riz was the word of the year. Like how people that read the New York Times would say like, what is this? What is Riz? But we, the teenagers, know what's Riz. Like social media has such an impact in the world that a simple word can be the word of the year, and a word that doesn't have a meaning at all.
And I noticed that many people like to shorten words and
Yes.
combine two words, as we mentioned before, like brunch. Breakfast plus
Breakfast and lunch.
When you eat between those two times, that's a brunch. And to be honest, that's a really cool word for me.
Okay, so I feel social media has shifted people towards writing in a more informal way. Because if you see before, people used to write in a more refined and elegant, fancy way as towards now. And also with the new terms coming, Sigma, Rizzler, Ohio,
No.
Skibidi, what is Skibidi? Whatever. So yes, it has shifted people towards writing in a more informal and short way, I guess. They take shortcuts.
I think that if there's a thing that we have to accept is that, I mean, maybe it could sound weird like to older generations, but it's just natural. What I mean with it's natural is that language evolves. For example,
Yeah.
the English in the 13th century, for example, it sounded like German, like what. Instead of saying beef, they just said cow. That's the thing. It changes, and I think in 1,000 years it will change, and we we will not be able to understand it.
Yeah, do you think people from back then would understand what we were saying now?
What do you
No,
think?
but
What
it's
do you
just
think?
as we don't like if you try to read, for example, Romeo and Juliet, like in the original
Right.
form,
Yes.
in like old English, you're not gonna be able to read that.
That's like a
that's-
completely different
yeah,
language.
it's
Yes.
a completely different
Really
language.
rude, I saw.
Like aside from like that Shakespeare invented like a lot of words, you know, like the language by itself, it was really strange. It would be really strange to read for us.
What do you think? Like people in the future would say, like, how will code sound?
Like with social
I
media,
think-
we are always evolving. Like
I think people will not even talk in the future.
exactly.
Like at this point, as much as,
Yeah.
like in the way that we're shortening words so much, they're not gonna even say them.
Like NBM, like you, like it would
Would
be
you
like,
mind imagine if like we all talked in like only abbreviations? It would be crazy. Yeah, I think that's a possibility for our
Yeah,
future.
like someday it would really happen.
But it's sometimes hard to catch up with the new words.
Yeah,
yes.
it's definitely
It's a bit
hard.
Like
Yeah.
in 10 years,
Track
our
them.
kids
Yeah.
will tell us how the words would say.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like at this point we have concluded with the topics we should talk about. I mean, thank you all for being here. We really liked your participation. All of the comments made by the 10th graders and the 11th grader. Thank you to the 12th graders for helping us in this process, and thank you to Teacher Peart for putting all of this together for English Week. We hope you all like this, and thank you for tuning in.
Hope you enjoy.
Go Panthers!
Roar!